2024 America's newest thriller and horror blockbuster only leads the way officially. If you have a loved one who has passed away and you want to meet them again, for only $2,000 you can have the chance to talk to them, but not for more than 2 minutes, or something terrible will happen. Without further ado, the movie begins with the death of a father, whom we hadn't spoken to in years, who was burned to death in a fire late at night, and whose daughter flew in for a quick visit and then fled. She has no feelings for her father, who never asked about her life, but the lawyer says he left her a legacy. In addition to the videotape, there is a bar, a historic European-style bar, but Alice feels a coldness and eeriness, especially the burn marks on the floor. But for the penniless Alice, it was still a fortune in the sky, and she didn't hesitate to sign the deed, not knowing that this would be the beginning of her nightmare. Later that night, a strange man broke into her bar, handed Alice $2,000, said she wanted to meet her wife, who was in the bar's basement. May is terrified by the sudden appearance of the man, but can't resist his offer of a large sum of money, so she agrees to meet him again tomorrow night. The next day, Wei comes as promised, and May brings her best friend Blackie to bump into him, and they open the door to the basement, but the basement is empty, except for a chair in the middle of the hall and a hole in the wall at the back. However, the feeling of this place is even more eerie. Wei greeted to the black hole, but there is no response, however. Just when May said come out quickly, a figure appeared at the entrance of the hole. This person with a paper bag on his head does not look like a normal person, however. I didn't expect that this horrible person would obey Alice's order. Alice told him to back off, and he did, and he sat down. Alice told him to sit down, and he sat down, and he sat down, and he sat down. This horrible man was not expected to obey Alice's orders. Alice told him to back off, and he did. Told him to sit down, and he did. And at that moment, Wei hurriedly gave the head-covered man his wife's relics, and said he wanted to meet his wife. And the head-covered man ate the ring in his mouth, and immediately took the woman's hands in his mouth. And the head-covered man took the ring in his mouth, and the head-covered man ate the ring. Wei immediately pulled up the woman's hands, and in the next second, the head-covered man's palms incredibly turned into normal people's rosy hands. But when Wei took off the head covering, he did not realize that this person was not his wife at all, but his mother. It turned out that the ring that he had given to his wife was a second-hand object left by her mother, and the ring was not his wife. And the head-covered man was a second-hand object, and the head-covered man was a second-hand object. Now instead of summoning his wife, he summons his mother, who abandoned him when he was a child and committed suicide.